Hey everyone, and welcome to Fabric Frenzy June edition, which will also be our last edition before the summer holidays. So we look very much forward to showing you the news from May and a little bit from June this time.
Yeah, because we are in June now, but
we also haven't received the June news from Microsoft yet. Yep. So we are talking about what was released in May and a few features that we have seen as blog posts in the last few weeks.
Yes.
So we are going to show the monthly spotlight on a feature, which this time will be, drumroll, semantic link.
Semantic link.
Yes. Wow. We also show the news, talk about some of the Fabric conferences that are coming up here in the next half year. Of course, also a little bit of a feature demo. I heard someone tell me that they had brought a real-time reporting demo to us today. So I look very much forward to seeing that. And the tip of the month, which will be the final icing on the cake.
Can you give me a cliffhanger on tip of the month?
Tip of the month.
Just a cliffhanger without telling it. Just
a different, not commonly known way to dig into your Fabric consumption. So it's not the typical Fabric consumption app.
Okay. A cliffhanger there. So
cliffhanger there.
In 27 minutes or so, you will get that one.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
So today's spotlight is semantic link, which we will go more into depth with in just a little bit as well. So for anyone tuning in who still haven't gotten a glimpse of exactly what Fabric is, and I think at this time it may not be many of you, but Fabric is of course this end-to-end solution that lets us do anything around our full data estate, everything from getting data to preparing that data and finally use that data, all while this data is being stored in a common shared data format and a common data storage in one lake. And
without tossing you under the bus,
I know. Is
there an icon too much on that slide?
Could be
one too many. I don't know.
Let's see what the news tell us.
Sure. Got it.
So the first news is of course Microsoft Build news. So we just had Microsoft Build coming up here a few weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, where there was a lot of news that was announced. And does that mean that we have a bunch of all these big grand news for you today? Actually not. No. But the reason is that we already did a news from Build video stream here 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So if you are interested in some of the more grand features, especially around real-time analytics and things like that, do check out this link from that last stream, which we will show. We will paste into the chat in just a moment.
Yeah. And if you don't get the chat, it's aka.fm/
News from Build.
News from Build. Thank you. Yeah. News from Build. In one word, without spaces or so forth.
Yes. And we will also talk about real-time dashboard that you're showcasing us. We have some new pipeline connectors. Event House one-leg availability.
What?
Spark Autotune. I love this feature, especially the word of it. And finally, some new security features.
It sounds like a modern pop singer who can't sing.
Woo! Yes.
Okay, got it.
So this is the tool. If you cannot do your data engineering work, now you have the auto-tune to do it for you.
If you can't sing, Fabric will help you.
If you can't sing with data, you can have your data sing for you. I know. We're getting too far. Yeah. So security features, first and foremost. So we have seen 3 new main features in security. There are private links for Fabric Tenant, trusted workspace access, and managed private endpoint. And the private link secures inbound access to Fabric from selected virtual networks. It will allow us to block access from the internet, enhancing our security and compliance by preventing unauthorized or malicious traffic from reaching our Fabric tenant, which is really nice.
That sounded an extremely long sentence. So more or less, it is more security, and I can now block internet access, more or less.
Basic.
Okay, got it.
And trusted workspace access, we can now allow seamlessly to secure access to firewall-enabled Azure Storage account. So if your Azure Storage account is behind a firewall, we can access that now using trusted workspace access. And finally, endpoints. Well, we can now use private endpoints in Fabric.
inputs.
So really cool. If these were blockers for you looking into Fabric, well, know now that these are possible. We can do this. It doesn't mean that this is for everyone, that everyone needs these features to succeed with their Fabric, but they can be a really good idea, and you could have utilized some of these features and need them if you want to go to Fabric. So less of a blocker now. Yeah. And if you want to learn more, Microsoft also released the Microsoft Fabric end-to-end security white paper, where all of this and more is detailed. There are many pages of
many pages.
Documentation. Yeah,
more than 2. Okay, got it.
More than 2, more than 10.
Got it. Okay, so a question before we move on. All of these new security features, do they work on F2 or F4?
That's a good question. Nope, they don't. So the thing is that they only work. First of all, they only work on Fabric capacities, so FSKU capacities, and they only work for F64 and beyond and above.
Okay, great. So the old P1, and you can no longer buy a P1 from January.
So you won't be able to use them in the old P1. And the technical reason here is that P1 is technically not a cloud resource, so therefore it cannot utilize the cloud resource ecosystem.
Got it.
But the FSKU is.
Got it.
Yeah. And then news from Build. We had a fantastic bunch of new releases from Build, and there's a bunch of interesting things here, AI skills among others. But all of this and more you can see if you go to this this link posted in the chat, aka.fm/news from Build.
Not ms. But FM.
FM.
aka.fm.
Fellow mind.
As in fellow mind. Got it.
Yes. Next feature. I've looked forward to this one. Real-time dashboards.
Real-time dashboards.
Real-time dashboards.
I love that.
So we can finally do real-time reporting.
Yeah. I think we need to clarify a few things, because there is somewhat a discussion or a dialogue in the community as we speak around, why did Microsoft release this real-time dashboarding? Because we have Power BI.
Yeah.
How does that work? How do I now choose what visualization tools should I use? Well, the short answer is real-time dashboards is put into this world for analytics on millions and millions or even billions of rows of time series data.
Yeah.
And it sits right next to the KQL database underneath the real-time intelligence service inside Fabric. So if you want to do analytics on millions and millions of rows in your dashboards or in your whatever analytics workspace you are in, then real-time dashboards is the way to go. If you want analytics on aggregated, some DAX lookalike way to go, then Power BI is the way to go. But I would also say, and this is for my own account, that I believe that Microsoft is on a path to perhaps join the two. I don't know, but it could be a possible scenario. Without further guessing on the future, I've actually brought a demo.
Nice.
Yeah. So the first one here is on my screen. There you go. I've put up a dashboard, and actually for the people attending today, I built this dashboard in perhaps 10 minutes. It is not the most beautiful dashboard in the world, but it works. And it is a matter of actually writing some KQL and then putting those KQL statements into a dashboard. It is quite easy. So if I could actually do a quick run through of what is happening on this dashboard, and then we can build a new tile together. Okay, great.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. First of all, in the top here, I can select my time range. This is a built-in feature in real-time intelligence where I can select my own time range. If I only want to see the last 15 minutes, then my charts will change live accordingly. But let me go back to the last 30 minutes. And if the attendees on this live session sees that the charts are changing over time, that is actually correct, because we are looking at a real-time intelligence dashboard. So when data is updated in the database, the dashboards will also update all its visuals.
In real time?
Perhaps not in real time, because right now we have a minimum refresh rate of 30 seconds.
Okay.
So I have set this dashboard to refresh every 30 seconds, and I know that the data that we get from the source is a new record every 1 minute. And just to demystify this data is coming from a JavaScript framework called Faker. So it is just faking data in an arbitrary way. So you might not see continuous lines.
That's why we have trains in the middle of the ocean.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I've also built in, as when you talked about trains, I've also built in a filter on train, land, ocean, and air, and we can see different devices going along.
Nice.
If I filter on train, then we will see that thing, and if I also filter on ocean and on air. So I can now filter all my data in my dashboard as I would any other things. And if I want to see the underlying data set, I can always click on this small icon here, and then I'm presented with the chart, of course, and the underlying data set that supports this chart. And I can see the columns that I can use. And also those columns give you a small data profile of things on what is happening inside this data set.
Cool. What if I wanted to make changes or see the code behind this?
The code behind. Right now we are. I'm in viewing mode. If I go to editing mode, I get a small pencil, and if I click that, I can actually see the code, the custom code behind this. And if you don't know how to write this custom code, when we go back to the KQL statements work pane, we can actually use Copilot. So we also got Copilot to help us write custom queries now.
Nice.
Yeah. If I want to change things here, I can just change it. If I don't want a time chart, perhaps I want a bar chart. I can just write bar chart here. And then I can run it, and you will see immediately that that doesn't work for some reason. Should work. It doesn't. That's fine. The demo ghost is here. But normally the visual would also update. But let me apply those changes. And so let us add a new tile here. I have cheated a bit, and I have already done one here. So this is so there you go. This is a KQL statement that is based on these Faker events that I mentioned earlier. So these are just arbitrary events happening every minute. And when I developed this, I was hard filtering the time for the last 3 hours, just for the demo purposes. And I'm working with a JSON dataset, so I have to pass this as a strings and all that stuff. And then I do a summarization by device ID, by time, and transportation mode. If I run this, then I'm presented with the area chart here. When I'm done and I would like to add this to my KQL, to my real-time dashboard, I just click this pin to dashboard. It's quite easy to an existing dashboard, or I can create a new dashboard.
Nice.
And I have an existing dashboard. I can select that dashboard right here. I can only select one. And the dashboard name is there. And the tile name could be, I don't know, area chart demo. And I'll open the dashboard after creation. If I don't open this, then it will just create it for me. But the problem is that right now, this chart is not filtering by the default filters up here. Yeah. So I need to go back into editing and hit the pencil. And then in my time filter, in the top here, I can see what parameters I have to work with. I can put in between. And then it should be start time, and over here end time. Now I've implemented a filter on time. If I also want to implement transportation type, I uncomment this one. And the transportation mode should be equal to, it's called transportation. There you go.
Okay, so you're telling me that for each tile, I need to have a custom query.
Yes.
And I also need to specifically add the logic to handle filtering based on my parameters.
Yes.
Do you know what this reminds me of?
Nope.
Paginated reports.
Paginated reports.
We all love this development experience. Who doesn't love that?
So now I have changed my tile to fit my needs on the filtering, and I can actually just now move it to where I want it. Perhaps I want it right there, and I want it to fit inside my window there, and I can go back and save it. Save. And hit viewing. So now I have my new tile here, and when I filter on land, It changes accordingly.
Nice.
And ocean and so forth. And if the audience were quick enough, you just saw a new line of data coming in. This second.
Nice.
And I also tried to do some rules on how to color code stuff here. So there is a lot of possibilities here.
Nice.
I also tried to do a map visualization, but it is randomized data, so we have trains on the water. But it might still help. Yeah,
pretty nice.
And when you said it looked like paid reports, it actually reminds me that I'm not fixed to a canvas here. I can put tiles in wherever I want, in whatever width and height I want. It's just a matter of putting them in, and then it can fit your need. Of course, you will get scroll bars, and you can zoom zoom in and out, but things will still work for you.
Very neat.
Yeah.
So if this works for some use cases, it's a little bit more work than dragging and dropping in Power BI.
Yes.
Is this my only option if I want to do real-time data, or are there other alternatives if I would like to do something more similar to Power BI?
You can actually directly from a KQL query set. When I'm done with my KQL query set, this is the same query that we just built the new area chart by. There's also a button called Build Power BI Report.
Great.
So when I click this, Fabric links this specific query to a Power BI report, and there you go. I can now begin to build my report based on the events coming in here.
Great.
So it just works out of the box.
Great. So multiple options for real-time data reporting. We just have to choose what's the best for our use case.
Sure. Yes.
Nice. Very good.
Yep.
So let's move on to the next point on the agenda. That is, of course, the Spark Autotune.
So Fabric can sing now.
Fabric can sing. Great. And the cool thing about Spark Autotune, and don't get me wrong, I really do like the feature, because what it does is that you've written some sort of Spark job, request that fetches data, do something with it. And you can go and manually adjust the settings of your Spark cluster and try increasing the nodes, or try to change some settings. And there's a few settings that you can leverage and change. And depending on what you do, you can actually optimize your query quite a bit. As in this example, from running in 500 to 600 seconds to getting down to only a little bit more than 300.
Wow.
The thing is, with Autotune, you don't even have to do this. You can just let the engine itself try out different settings over time until it lands on the best possible setting. And the graph I'm showing here is actually not an optimization that we've done. This is an example of what Autotune has done. So this is Autotune's work, going from 550 seconds to 350 without anyone having to do this manually. So this is a really cool use case of actual good AI.
It is, but what you just told me is so it doesn't change the code, it only changes the settings behind the code execution.
Change the engine and optimize, and the query will be the same, the code will be the same, the results will be absolutely identical, it will just be faster. We also have options together with this setting for doing more analysis into what this optimizer found and what is going on behind the scenes of here. So we have depths to understand what made it run so well. And finally, which is the best part, the only thing we have to do to enable this is to go to our Spark properties, write this thing, spark.ms.autotune.enable, set it to true, and that's it. It will just work from there and help us make our queries run faster.
This is actually this is mind-blowing to me, because in SQL, in the SQL world, in the SQL server, we always wanted and we always joked with, can we get an option go fast?
Exactly. This is
option go fast in Spark.
It is your option go fast in Spark.
Okay, got it.
Absolutely. And I think Microsoft mentioned that sometimes most jobs running up to 4 times faster in some examples. So yeah. So yes, we can do queries much faster. And then the other thing we would like to show here is the Event House one-leg availability.
Ooh.
Do you want to tell what this is?
Yes, please. Thank you. First of all, we need to discuss what an event house actually is. Yeah. An event house is look at it as your server for your KQL databases. It enables a new UI portal to look at what is happening inside your KQL databases in one view, and it also enables each KQL database to talk to each other, cross database queries and all that stuff. And each KQL database you can now enable through the event house to copy or mirror the data out to OneLake. It is still stored in the proprietary KQL format in real-time intelligence, but it is also in an internal process built by Microsoft and in Fabric, copied out in Parquet files in OneLake. So, and I don't remember the time from ingestion to KQL to availability in OneLake, but it is a matter of minutes, and even seconds if we're lucky. So this enables us to do a hybrid solution on real-time, because now we can do real-time analytics on perhaps a time window of 2 weeks or something, and then the grand enterprise data warehousing built on Fabric we can do based on OneLake, but on the same data from the real-time intelligence.
So if I was working in a production facility monitoring a lot of my machines,
yes,
and I want alerts right near, as close as possible, pretty
near real-time.
Yeah. I could use the event stream to stream that data in and have it in an event house, set up alerts, but at the same time offshore this data to a lakehouse so that I could once a week or once a month do a more thorough analysis on everything that happened on the full data.
Yeah,
that is really powerful.
That is powerful. Yeah, and the thing is also, as I understand it, Microsoft, please correct me, but you will only pay for the storage once. You only pay for the storage in the KQL database, and the storage and the copy to OneLake is free of charge. So,
very cool.
Yeah,
very cool. So after that, we also have new connectors for pipelines in Data Factory.
Oracle.
Oracle is one now. Google BigQuery, some Azure, MySQL, Snowflake, and Dynamics. So for Oracle, we have Oracle Database and Oracle Cloud Storage. Google, we have Google BigQuery.
Mm-hmm.
So if you already have a big data estate in Google BigQuery, you can definitely now link that into Fabric and start analyzing that data in Power BI or in some of the other tools. Azure AI Search, Azure Files as well. MySQL database is easier to connect to now also with Fabric. Snowflake ADBC, which will make it easier and quicker to fetch data from Snowflake. If you are not in a use case where mirroring for Snowflake makes sense, if you are in a case where you want to copy your full data.
Shortcuts announced on Las Vegas.
Or that.
Well, that will come ever. So
yes.
I don't know.
And finally, we have something elusive called here Dynamics AX, which last time I checked was an old product name for Dynamics 365 Finance, but I assume it's connecting to the same thing. We're pending trying to find out, but it seems promising if we have a new way to connect to that data source.
Yeah. But the name is Dynamics AX.
The name is a connector for Dynamics AX.
I'm getting thoughts back to 10, 12 years ago.
Yes.
Of a product.
So it's a time travel feature we have here.
Good.
Great. That was the main news. Mm-hmm. I have, of course, still the spotlight waiting to show you all the power of the semantic link. But before we go to that, I would like to talk about some of the great conferences that are coming up in Europe in the near future. So we have a data platform next step conference coming up already tomorrow.
Tomorrow and Friday, yeah.
Tomorrow and Friday. I think it's sold out, so not much chance to get a ticket, but great conference nonetheless, where you'll be able to find both myself and you, Brian, standing there greeting people. So if you're watching here and you are at this conference, don't hold back reaching out and say hello to us.
And we will bring candy.
We will bring candy, and you will be able to have a game of Mario Kart racing with up on a console. So you can beat us in that if you want to do that.
You can't beat us, but try.
Great. The next one is the European Microsoft Fabric Community Conference. The absolute longest name for a conference in the history of conferences in Europe. But nevertheless, it's a semi-official, it's a very much Microsoft-supported conference as lead, and will be the absolute biggest Fabric conference in Europe ever.
Yeah. We are talking 120 sessions and
thousands of attendees.
And hundreds of speakers and all the stuff. So,
so it will be
there.
Pretty
it's in Stockholm.
Epic. It's in Stockholm. Yeah. And finally, we have data mines, which is always recommendable as well. Data mines Connect, which will be held in Belgium by the October 7th to 9th.
Yes.
Cool. And with that said, let's move on to the spotlight of the day, the semantic link, because I think semantic link is a pretty overseen, very, very powerful feature in Fabric. So Fabric Link is literally a link between the capabilities of notebooks and semantic models. So it lets you do things with your semantic models from your notebooks. And what some of those things could be, I'll demo right now.
I'm in for a treat here because I haven't seen this.
No.
So this is, again, totally unscripted. I don't know what I'm going to see here.
It's going to be interesting. So let's dig into the code. We have here a notebook.
Oops.
Oh, we have here a presentation.
We have a sharing issue, so hang tight.
No.
Matthias is coding with... And there you go. Yeah, there you go.
Notebook. So, semantic link is a library for Python. So in notebooks you can go. It's a library for Python in Fabric notebooks. Actually, not able to use this outside of Fabric.
Got it.
But it's a Fabric feature. But you can install it simply by writing pip install semantic link. That's it.
Got it. Standardized
package you install with a single line. After that, this is some formatting settings. You of course need to go and import the packages that you need. So there are three main packages here. There's SemPy relationships, SemPy fabric, and SemPy dependencies with each of their own toolboxes and tools. Once we've done that, we can do simple things like give me a list of the data sets in my workspace.
Wow.
And in hopefully a few seconds, we'll just run through the first ones here just to be sure. Run until... This is always the fun part. The last thing I did before we went live was run this entire notebook, make sure the engine was ready, but of course it's going to be...
and the engine turns itself off.
It's a clever engine, cost-saving engine.
Yeah. But when this runs and the result will come, I will see a list of all the datasets that...
Yes.
Is it also adhering to the security? So if I don't have access to the dataset, can I still see it?
No.
Okay.
You will use your own user as your principal for what you can see and what you can't.
Okay.
So it's importing the
security built-in.
Yes. So in the meantime, we'll wait for this to work. It's ready now. We can see a list of datasets. It's fetching through that workspace, generating a list, and boom, you see all the datasets. So we can actually go through a specific dataset. Like this example here, I have a customer profitability sample auto, which I can explore by running this relationship code here.
Yeah.
And then I see just the relationship connections in my dataset.
Oh, so I can. Oh, okay. So I can begin to perhaps, if I'm thinking this through, I could perhaps begin to auto-document my data models.
You could, absolutely. But you could even improve the relationship of your model, because if you look at this looks kind of wrong. There are missing pieces. You have many-to-many relationships. I can even dig into and see the specifications of these. Like, this is a many-to-one, this is a one-to-one, and somewhere it should show a many-to-many. It's probably further down the list.
Yeah, but it should be there.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So I could go and say, okay, I know these two are wrong. So I just drop them here. This is just dropping them from my data frame. So it's not actually changing the model right now. I'm just changing the way it looks.
Got it.
So I can visualize it again, and already now it looks cleaner.
Yes.
So what I would like to say, well, this is a good starting point. Let me find out what are more good candidates for actual relationships, good relationships. We're like a... what is it called? Like a matchmaker here. We want to find good relationships. So we can read all the tables here with this code. Read all the list of the tables. I get all list of all the tables. And then I can use this find relationships code that I will give the input of the different tables. I can exclude the relationships I already have. Because I don't want to find the same ones again. I can set a similarity threshold to see how little of a connection it needs because we want to matchmake them. And I can even, when I run it, run into the deep analysis of all the steps that it's actually doing here if I'm interested in that.
So it tries to find the relationships inside the data model without you doing anything?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And finally, it will give me the actual output, which is the suggested new relationships here. So I can take these
5 new relationships
and go add them to my model. I actually did this here, added them, and suddenly we have a much, much better model. But there's more. I can do more.
Of course there is.
Once I have my full data model like I want it to be, I can go and run relationship violations, which will scan through all these relationships and find any small things that are potentially wrong with them. Like in this case, it found out that in my fact product key, so in my fact table, 1 out of 7 of my product keys for my products were not present in my fact table.
Oh.
Which means I have products that are not used in facts. Or it could be the other way around. I have products in my fact table which are not in my dimension table.
Yeah, got it.
This script will find all these mistakes and help us correct them.
Okay.
So that is one of a whole range of features that we can use semantic link for. So definitely recommendation from here. Go try it out. It will be a superpower once you get to learn it.
Got it.
So let's finish off today with the small, quick tip of the month.
Yeah.
So tip of the month for this month is, not a lot of people know it. It's another way to look at your Fabric consumption. If you don't have access to the report, the consumption breakdown report, you can actually, if you are owner of the Azure subscription with the Fabric capacity, so if you are an Azure admin or similar, you can actually go there and use the new preview of the new cost analysis and budgeting in Azure. You can dig into the resource of your Fabric capacity and you can see your consumption all the way down to the different engines. So you can see, is it Spark consumption? Is it warehouse consumption? And you can even see how much consumption are unused, which could be utilized and so forth. So great tip to end the stream on. Thank you for listening in and have an excellent summer holiday and hope to talk to you.
See you. Bye.
See you. Bye.